Oh, hello. It feels good to be back. 00? 1 minute. See you guys in 1 minute. What is going on, my friends? We are gathered here today to talk about Star Wars, or you know how these streams go. Probably 99% not Star Wars and 1% Star Wars talk. That's what we do around here, right? But welcome. Let me know if the music is a little too loud or too low. I am here to adjust things. I'm still rusty. I took that 4-month break from the channel for career stuff. And now I'm slowly getting back into the groove, making videos, doing streams. Working on a really dumb video. I want like my first big long video that I make in like 5-6 months to be a dumb one. Just because, you know, that's my favorite stuff to talk. That's my favorite stuff to make. If you guys have never seen the video that I made titled "The Ultimate Guide to Star Wars," do yourself a favor and watch it. That's kind of like, watch it from start to finish. Because there's a lot of goofiness in there, and it is my favorite video I think I have ever made. And you'll see why. It's completely nonsensical. Anyway, guys, welcome. What's going on? What did I miss? Let's talk Star Wars. The topic of conversation today, and we don't have to stay on topic, of course, is what's your favorite Star Wars movie and why? Now, a lot of you guys can guess what mine is because you've been around the channel for a while, but if you're new, hey, everybody take their guess. What's my favorite? I'm curious. I always like somebody, if somebody asks, how old are you? I always like, how old do you, I always like to ask, how old do you think I am? I'm 36. Yeah. I always like to see the answer. I don't know, maybe that's a dipshit thing to do, but I always like to see the answer. Or hear the answer, rather. Anyway, French-Canadian Wolfman, good to see ya. I love seeing these familiar faces that I haven't seen in a long time. French-Canadian, thank you so much for the super chat and channel support. I appreciate that, man. French-Canadian Wolfman says, hello there, long time no see. A New Hope is my favorite because it's the most iconic. It's self-contained, it's got all of our heroes together, and the ending is just the best. So yeah, you guys are giving your answers and guesses as to my favorite. Some of you guys have already known because you've heard me talk about it for 11 years, right? My favorite French-Canadian Wolfman is also A New Hope. For all the reasons that you listed there, it's self-contained, it's its own self-contained story, a beginning, middle, and end. Also, there's a heavy nostalgia factor there because that's the movie. I mean, I watched more A New Hope than any other Star Wars movie growing up by far. I mean, it might be 5-1. I loved it through and through. There's another factor that goes into it that's kind of interesting, and I'd love to like think about this more. Pretty much every single movie in a trilogy or a franchise, every single beginning movie of that franchise in general, and I'm sure there's some exceptions, every single first movie is my favorite. Lord of the Rings, the Fellowship is my favorite. Harry Potter, honestly, man, the first Harry Potter movie is my favorite. It's got a childlike wonder, a sense of adventure to it. It's new, it's fresh. We get introduced to all the new characters, you know. Indiana Jones is an exception. I never know what my favorite Indiana Jones movie is, but truthfully, I think it's Temple of Doom. I can articulate. I don't know if I could articulate why. I really don't. Yeah, it's interesting. For the most part, every single franchise, the first movie in that franchise or trilogy is my favorite. I love the beginnings of stories. I love meeting Luke Skywalker. I love to see his innocence, his want for something more, his desire for adventure and excitement. You know, he's living on this desert planet. He wants to pursue his dreams. He wants to do something great and grand. Maybe he doesn't know how to kickstart that journey. That journey is foisted upon him. That decision is made for him in a way. But I love to see the beginning of stories. I love it. But yeah, I'm with you, French Canadian Wolfman. It's like 50% all the things that I just said, and then 50% just because I watched it the most as a kid. But yeah. Anyway, man. Oh, I found out Quentin Tarantino has a podcast the other day. It's called like Video Archives, I think. Really good. I love listening to him to talk about movies. There's also a podcast that I discovered, and you guys are probably familiar with it. I'm a grandpa. Not really. I'm only 36, man. But I'm usually late to the party. The podcast is called... Let me look at it. Real Blend. I believe it's from... Yeah, Cinema Blend. And I like it. It's a good movie podcast. And they recently... I found out about it because Quentin Tarantino was recently on it in like a bonus episode. It's a really good listen, man. I highly recommend if you got some driving, if you got some yard work or work around the house you got to get done, put in some headphones, listen to the Real Blend bonus episode with Quentin Tarantino that was released not too long ago. Anyway, I see a lot of Revenge of the Siths. I see a lot of Empire. Xana Mandu, good to see ya. Thank you so much for the super chat and channel support as well. Xana says, there's something inherently universal about the appeal of Star Wars, especially when you go back to its roots and learn about the inspirations for it. Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's interesting, like, the influence of Kurosawa, the influence of, hold on, my headphones are all tangled up. There we go. The influence of Dune, I mean, the drug in Star Wars is called spice, and in Dune it's called spice as well. Like, there's so much influence, whether it be novels or movies, directors, that influenced George Lucas. Yeah, not only George Lucas, but even, like, Macquarie. I mean, you can, in some of the droid designs, they came to Earth. What is that? C-3PO looks like that. Let's see. C-3PO inspiration. What is that movie called? Metropolis. Metropolis, 1927. Yeah, in Metropolis, that robot in Metropolis from that movie looks like 3PO. There's inspiration everywhere, you know. Oh.
The film that made me take the first steps into a larger world. But I also enjoy the sequel trilogy, and the haters can hunt me all they like.
Sapity, good to see you, man. Thank you so much for the very generous super chat and channel support. I greatly appreciate that. Give me one sec, man. Yeah. It's just timeless, Xana. It's timeless. It's a timeless hero story. It's a timeless adventure. It's very appealing. I think that, you know, I know people who have never seen Star Wars, and I'm not the kind of guy to be like, what? You've never seen Star Wars? I don't give a shit. I'm not that guy. But I will be like, it's, you know, you might think it's nerdy or whatnot, but it's really not. It's just a story, an adventurous story, and I always tell people to start with A New Hope. You know, that's what the world saw first. So I'm a believer that that's where people should start. You know, and it's timeless. It's for everybody, and there's it's appealing to whatever you hold near and dear. It's appealing to whatever your belief system is. Star Wars is, as you said, it's universally appealing. And yeah, man. Oh. But yeah, I appreciate that, man. Sappity, Caleb, and Vince.
Watch Hot Fuzz with commentary by Edgar Wright and Tarantino. They just talk movies the whole time. Also, watched Reacher episode 1 this morning. Good stuff. Can't stay but have a good stream, guys.
Nice, Vince. Thank you so much. Since you got a jet, I'll read Vince's first. Vince says, everyone watch Hot Fuzz with commentary by Edgar Wright and Tarantino. I did not know that was a thing. They just talk movies the whole time. Also watch Reacher episode 1 this morning. Good stuff. Can't stay but have a good stream, guys. Nice. I went for a 5-mile run this morning, and when I get back, it was like 150,000 degrees outside. I got back, and my ass was kicked. I sat on the couch, and I watched a 45-minute video on... You remember those soccer players who were trapped in a cave in Thailand? Like the boys, the young boys? I watched a 45-minute documentary on them. Fascinating. I'm saying this because I'm super excited. Ron Howard made a movie about that story. I have not watched it yet. It's on Amazon Prime. That is the next thing that I'm going to watch. I cannot wait. Apollo 13 is one of my favorite movies of all time. It's in my top 5. I think Ron Howard, if he takes the drama that he didn't create the drama. It's a, real world story. The drama is there for the picking, just like this movie. It's called 13 Lives, I think. And I think if he, if he does as good of a job as he did in Apollo 13 with this movie, goodness gracious, it could soar into my top 10. I'm so excited to watch this. But anyway, I'll have to check that out, Vince. I did not know that Edgar Wright and Tarantino did a commentary of Hot Fuzz. I have not seen Hot Fuzz. That's one of the few Simon Pegg movies I haven't seen. But yeah. Anyway, man, take it easy. Have a good morning, or it's afternoon now. But cheers. I appreciate it. And Sappity says, greetings, Greedo. What can I say? Still an ESB fanatic. The masterpiece, in my opinion. The film that made me take the first steps into a larger world, but I also enjoy the sequel trilogy, and the haters can hump me all they like. Yeah, it's weird, man. Like, it's weird. Like, people seek out. There's a guy on Twitter, and what is his name? He's got like an Emperor Palpatine, a Palpatine like avatar on his Twitter account. I don't remember what his name is, but like every time I post anything, this guy like it's like he's sitting there all day trying to play Thumb War, and I'm like, what? Who does this? Like, it's weird, man. So it's almost like unavoidable. I don't block anybody or mute anybody on Twitter. It's just I don't really care enough. But it's weird to me. Like, I don't know, it's fucking weird. It's like become this dude's personality and I'm sure he doesn't do it just with me. I'm sure he does it across the fandom. But it's like this guy's personality now to just sit there and like wait for somebody who's into Star Wars to tweet something, and then he just responds. It's weird. Like, don't be that guy, guys. If you're listening to my voice right now, it's a beautiful big world. There's a lot to do. Don't be that guy. Don't be that guy. But yeah, it's sad. But yeah, Sappy, I appreciate it, man. I completely understand. Empire is... I love it. It's not my favorite. I would say it's my second favorite Star Wars film. I actually saw it a couple years ago with an orchestra. And that was an amazing experience. I love it through and through. I mean, I can't say anything about it that other people haven't said endlessly, you know. But yeah, I understand why that's always like, not always, but oftentimes at the top of people's lists. I completely get it. It's yeah, what words can you, I mean, dark? You hate to say dark, but it's, your heroes are going through the epitome of struggle. They're kicked in the dirt. They've lost. And that makes for, I wasn't alive in 1980. I was born in 1986. But imagine, back then, the movie comes out, you watch Empire Strikes Back. Maybe you like it, maybe you don't. I mean, it's very different than A New Hope, right? And your heroes lost. They lost. And now you have to wait 3 years for Return of the Jedi to come out. I almost said Revenge of the Jedi. You have to wait 3 years for that movie to come out to find out what happens to these characters that you know and love. That's cool. I mean, that's a huge cliffhanger, right? What's going to happen to Han? What are Luke and Leia going to do as they're, as the movie ends, as they're staring out at the galaxy? It's a fantastic middle part of that trilogy, But yeah, man, I love it. And if I don't know where you guys live, if they're ever doing any kind of like movie with an orchestra, go see it. Don't hesitate, man. I've seen Raiders of the Lost Ark with an orchestra. I saw Empire Strikes Back with an orchestra. I saw... Oh, one sec.
To acknowledge you for being the best streamer / when it comes to super chats. I've never seen another you actually take the time to read and address each other's
Josh,
hands,
dude,
beer mugs.
Josh, I really appreciate that. And honestly, well, I'll get to this, Josh, but honestly, I never even crossed my mind to not acknowledge. Like, why wouldn't you? I mean, look, I'm in the relative grand scheme of things, I'm a smaller YouTuber. I'm sure, like, PewDiePie, he can't sit there. He would be there for, like, 4 days in a row. I get that. But give me one sec, Josh. Give me one sec. I appreciate that, man. But, yeah. Oh, I've seen Raiders of the Lost Ark with an orchestra, Empire Strikes Back with an orchestra. Oh, and Home Alone with an orchestra. Which you might go, huh? Yeah, but that was John Williams too. And it was awesome. It was great. I was thinking I saw Jurassic Park, but I didn't. I think that came and I didn't get tickets. But anyway. Caleb, Alkin, Minato, Josh, and Brandon, thank you guys so much for the super chats there, guys. Caleb says, hey man, glad to see you back. YouTube wasn't the same. Empire is my favorite because even as a grown man, I look at Yoda and believe he's real, true, magic. Good to see you. Yeah, that's another aspect, Caleb. The introduction of Yoda. I mean, I kind of shudder to think what if there was a character like Yoda, that needed to be this wise warrior, right? This Jedi master. That if that movie was like made today, if that movie was made today, and there was Reddit and Twitter and a bunch of angry fans and stuff like that, and there was going to be this warrior, do you think people would get on the internet and be like, what the fuck? This little green guy is a warrior? Get out of here. You don't think that would be the like flooding the comment sections? People would want like big buff Conan the Barbarian Jedi warrior. That's exactly what they would want. They would want some like ripped The Rock guy with a lightsaber and a ponytail. But no, it was beautiful. When I think of the Force, I think of Yoda, Caleb. I think of Yoda in The Empire Strikes Back. That's how I like my Force. Small and subdued, subtle and mystical. Like people throwing rocks and flipping around and slinging around like the the Senate UFO, whatever they are. I don't know what they're slinging all that shit. Like, it does nothing for me. Nothing for me. I like the Force to be small and subtle and mystical and spiritual. I like it to have some mystery as well, you know. And that's why when I think of the Force, I think of all those sequences, all those scenes, all that dialogue in The Empire Strikes Back. So yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you, Caleb. Cheers, man. I appreciate it. It's good to be back. It's good to be back. I appreciate it. And Alcan1, thank you so much for the super chat as well. Alcan says, I have to go with A New Hope like everyone else, although I used to think Last Jedi would dethrone it if a few things in the film were done differently. I'm a fan of The Last Jedi. Unabashedly, I think it's the best Star Wars movie, definitely of the Disney generation, since they acquired the franchise. Has some really unique ideas in there. I'm a big fan of twists and turns and surprises. It has some great twists and turns and surprises in there. You know, I like being kind of not tricked, but I like when the unexpected happens. The end of that movie is, I think, one of the best sequences in any of the Star Wars films between Luke and Kylo. I liked Luke Skywalker in that movie. You know, this man whose entire worldview has come crumbling down. He saw the future. Ben, his family, right? This kid that he loves. He sees the future of that he's going to become a monster. And for a fleeting moment, yeah, I love it. I love it. So, I'm a big fan of that movie, man. It's honestly the only one that I have a desire to watch of like the modern Star Wars movies. Again, The Force Awakens is just a fun, you know, it's a fun movie. But I don't have the same desire to watch it as I do The Last Jedi. But yeah, I appreciate that, man. I'm with you, Alcan. And Minato, thank you so much for the super chat and channel support as well. Minato says, my favorite is The Last Jedi. It turned me into a Luke fan. They gave him the Logan treatment, a better job at showing a tormented Jedi than Kenobi did. I completely agree. Let me take a sip of water here. And then let me take a sip of coffee. Here. There we go. Yeah, I'm with you, Minato. And I completely understand why it is your favorite. I understand why any Star Wars movie is someone's favorite. You know, we all grew up different. We're of different generations. We all come at these movies with different wants and needs and things that'll tickle your fancy. Right? So I completely understand where you're coming from. And it made you a Luke fan. Again, I really loved how, and I'm sure I said this before that movie even came out, but even George Lucas's idea of what Luke would be like in the sequel trilogy was, he described it as a Colonel Kurtz from Apocalypse Now. You know, that was George Lucas's vision for the character of Luke Skywalker in the sequel trilogy. There was even concept art. There's even interviews with him in like the making of The Last Jedi, the Art of the Last Jedi book, where he describes what Luke Skywalker would be like. George Lucas said this in the sequel trilogy, and he described him as Colonel Kurtz from Apocalypse Now. If you've ever seen that movie, you know, it's pretty on par, not as extreme as Colonel Kurtz, but yeah, that was George Lucas's idea. I love to see his struggle. I love to see him come around. I loved the ending of the film. I thought he was handled great. I thought he was handled great. But yeah, I'm with you there, Minato. Cheers, man. I forgot about Logan. that was one of the first 4K Blu-rays I ever bought. I think I bought Logan and Mad Max Fury Road on the same day, because I got my Xbox One S, which is also a 4K Blu-ray player, and like the two movies that were out at the time that I was interested in was Mad Max Fury Road, which I had seen in the theater, and the other one was Logan, which I had never seen, but I heard really good things about it, so I just impulse bought it. And yeah, I forgot about that movie. That was great. Anyway, cheers, man. And Josh Gonzalez, Brandon, and Matthew, thank you guys so much, and I appreciate the patience, as I am long-winded as always. Josh, let me take another sip of water. My throat is dry, man. I've been working a lot. I did a couple back-to-back overtime shifts. So, you know, being at the fire station for 48 hours straight, it's all right because it's, you know, pretty laid back, but you don't sleep much. Yeah, anyway, Josh Gonzalez, thank you once again, man. Josh says, just taking a sec to acknowledge you for being the best streamer / YouTuber. When it comes to super chats, I've never seen another YouTuber actually take the time to read and address each and every super chat. So it never even crossed my mind to not do that, Josh. I mean, never once. Even when I don't know. You've been around the channel forever, Josh, but like even when I would do live streams after seeing a movie, after seeing a Star Wars movie, or a live stream after a sequel trilogy trailer came out. I mean, there were certain times where I had like 1,000 people watching a live stream right after like I saw The Last Jedi or The Force Awakens or something like that. I don't think I started streaming until The Last Jedi came out. But even then, I would address every single super chat to this extent. And it never even crossed my mind to not do that. And again, I'm in the relative grand scheme of things, I'm a smaller YouTuber than, you know, a PewDiePie or whoever else. And I understand that somebody like that could never sit there and do that, because they would be there for a week straight and never stop streaming. They would die of exhaustion. But for me, like, you know, if somebody's willing to support the channel and ask a question or give their opinion or want my opinion on something specific or just want to say something goofy, then I feel not an obligation, I feel a duty, a responsibility to acknowledge that and say thank you and address the comment. I think that's the polite thing to do, out of respect and out of thanks, you know. Yeah, so it never even crossed my mind to not do that. I never even saw that as an option to not do that, you know. But I really appreciate the kind words there, Josh. I really appreciate that. I really appreciate that. You know, again, like, even, yeah, I remember doing like 3 or 4 hour live streams when I finished seeing a movie, a Star Wars movie, and would have like 1,000, 1,200 people watching, and super chats were coming in constantly, and I never even questioned once to skip over any. I always say I'm long-winded, but my long-windedness is, we're having a conversation here, right? And everybody wants to be in on the conversation. And if somebody's willing to support the channel through a super chat, then I have to, right? It's the polite thing to do. But anyway, cheers, man. I appreciate that, Josh. And yeah, thanks for the support. The emojis are super small on my other monitor. I think that's, I don't know what the first emoji is. The other one I think is 2 beer steins clinking together. Is the first one hands clapping? I'm focusing on it, so I'm getting so close to my monitor that I think it is hands clapping. Yeah, okay. It's like fucking with my eyes. It's funny. Anyway, Josh, cheers, man. I appreciate that. Brandon and Matthew, thank you both so much for the super chats as well. Brandon says, as someone born during the prequel trilogy, I've grown up with social media negativity. Would you say the fandom is better, worse, or the same today? That is a really interesting question, Brandon, and that would be a fun topic of conversation for a video as well. I would say that in general, I would say that it's... Oh, okay. So, oh man, that's tough. I would say that it's very similar. It's very similar as it was back then. It's just louder. You have access to more voices. People's negativity and anger, I guess, can get spewed out so easily on a keyboard or with their thumbs on their phone, right? I mean, there's people who constantly just comment on every single thing a Star Wars YouTuber or whatever posts, and it's like they're sitting there all day waiting for them to say something, and I think that's sad as fuck. And that is just the difference. You know, back in the day when I was 13, when the Phantom Menace came out, you know, I used to go to Titan. It was called Titan Comics, and it was around Atlanta, Georgia. I'm sure it's not there anymore. But, like, I have some comic books from when I was a kid in this, like, big bin, plastic bin. And on the front of it, it has a sticker that says Titan Comics. And it just... Yeah, I don't know. It's just cool to look at. But because I remember going to this comic shop, it was in the same complex as a Q-Zar. Do you guys remember Q-Zar? I don't know if anybody is as old as me and had a Q-Zar around them, but it was like a laser tag place. It was awesome. And I would go there, and you would hear these comic fans, you know, these nerds, talking about Star Wars. And I vividly remember hearing these conversations. You know, I was 13. I wasn't a part of these conversations, but I would hear these conversations, and the patrons and the workers would talk about the Phantom Menace, and it was nothing but negativity. And so you take that conversation.
Hello there.
Oh,
it's good to see you back on YouTube. Your live streams are a good way to relax for me. My favorite Star Wars is The Empire Strikes Back.
Nice, Patrick. Thank you so much, man. Give me one sec. So yeah, you take that conversation that's self-contained, that's kind of in a bubble at the counter of Titan Comics in 1999, and you put that conversation on the internet, on Twitter, or you put that conversation live streaming on YouTube. And now everybody has access to that conversation. Instead of just 3 dudes at a counter at a comic shop, now that conversation is 3 dudes on YouTube on a live stream, and everybody's riling each other up, and everybody's kind of saying the same thing, and there's these just big communities rather than these small self-contained conversations. These conversations are bigger and broader and louder, and you know, you can't really, like, if I'm sitting down in front of somebody that doesn't like a movie that I like, why do I give a shit? Like, we'll talk about it, but it would never get into like a vitriolic internet, like, you know, debate or whatever. Like, that shit is so fucking lame to me. Like, debate me? I don't give a fuck, man. I like the things I like. You like the things you like. Who gives a shit? You want it for content? I'm fucking 36, man. I got a career. I don't give a fuck about that stuff. Come on my podcast. Come on my live. I don't give a fuck. We all like different things. Like, I don't know. It's so weird, man. So weird. I don't get it. Anyway, yeah, Brandon, it's just different. I would say it's the same but louder. The same but louder. And yeah, it's not healthy to sit there. And I don't know if some of you guys do this, and you know, I don't want to say you shouldn't, but it's not healthy to sit there all day on Twitter and just see a stream of negativity or wanting to like get back at somebody who said something that you didn't like. You know, it's not healthy. And then you're going about your day, you're thinking about this snarky thing that some random stranger said on the internet, when you should just say, who cares? You know, who cares? Easier said than done, sure. There's a lot of YouTubers who need to take that advice because they look goofy as fuck. They're grown-ups, and they look goofy as fuck. Maybe their fan bases think it's badass, but it looks lame and goofy as fuck. But hey, that's just one man's opinion. Anyway, cheers, Brandon. Matthew, Vance, Patrick, and Rocket. Thank you guys so much. Matthew says, huge fan of the channel, and my favorite is The Empire Strikes Back. Turned the story into an unexpected turn and had the best adventure written story. I get it, man. My favorite's A New Hope. A close second is The Empire Strikes Back. For all those reasons. I mentioned them a little earlier, but it's kind of the perfect middle movie, middle story. You know, our heroes are down. They've been kicked in the dirt. They lost, and it leaves off on a perfect cliffhanger. You don't know what's going to happen to these characters. And as I said earlier, like, imagine being in the theater in 1980. You see this giant cliffhanger. Everything's come crashing down, and you got to wait 3 years to discover what happens to your favorite characters. You know. Yeah, so I'm with you, Matthew. I completely understand why it would be anybody's favorite, and I like it for I love twists and turns and unexpected moments. I hate predictability in my movies, and The Empire Strikes Back is a very unpredictable movie. You know, if somebody's first seeing it. For that reason, I enjoy The Last Jedi as well. I feel like out of everything that's been made in modern Star Wars, it's the most unique, and it has the most twists and turns and unexpected moments. And that's what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for predictability. I'm not looking for fan service. I'm not looking for people to throw rocks and Senate chamber seats all around. I'm not looking for people to do flips and I'm looking for unpredictable moments that catch me off guard, that make me go, huh, that, you know, that give me an experience. But yeah, I'm with you. Cheers, Matthew. I appreciate that, man. And Vance, thank you so much as well. Vance says, I know Attack of the Clones is in the running for the worst, but it was favorite as a kid. Loved the Camino aesthetic and theme, plus Jango's my favorite character. Yeah, I will never say... I always will understand why someone's favorite Star Wars movie is what it is. I will always understand, Vance. You know, Attack of the Clones is one of my least favorite. Honestly, it's a kind of a toss-up between Rise of Skywalker and Attack of the Clones, but I think the Rise of Skywalker is a little higher on my list than Attack of the Clones, just because it does have some factors that I enjoy. But, you know, we love the things that we love, that we grew up with, rather. You know, we love... A New Hope is my favorite Star Wars movie, 50%, because I just love introductions. I love, you know, the beginning of stories and everything that encompasses that movie. And another 50%, the other 50% is just because I watched it the most as a kid, you know. So yeah, you grew up with Attack of the Clones being your favorite. And I completely understand it. I completely understand why you love the Camino aesthetic, the theme. And Jango is your favorite character. I get it. I get it. Shit, man, if it's your favorite now, just shout it to the heavens. Don't be ashamed. But yeah, man, I appreciate that. Yeah, we love what we love, right? Even the Phantom Menace. The Phantom Menace is my favorite prequel movie. And that is solely because it came out when I was 13 years old. Now, my appreciation for that movie isn't necessarily having to do with the movie itself. It has to do with, and maybe some of you younger folks will experience this in the future, it has to do with the time that it came out, the age that you were, the nostalgia for the excitement, the build-up. Like, the build-up to the Phantom Menace was crazy. Just the buzz, the excitement, you know, new Star Wars. I was 13 years old. What is it going to be? What's it going to look like? What am I going to feel when I watch this? And I remember seeing it, and I saw it a couple times in the theater, and then I kind of forgot about it, and I just kept watching the originals, and I wasn't a big fan of it. I would listen to the soundtrack occasionally just because amazing. But as I've gotten older, that movie, that experience, even all the toys, all the promotional material, it's all fascinating to me, and I love looking at it, and it just kind of brings me back to 23 years ago, when I was a kid in Atlanta, getting ready to watch a new Star Wars movie. Yeah, it's interesting. But anyway, cheers, man. Patrick, Starkiller, Rocket21, and Matthew, once again, thank you guys so much. Patrick says, hello there. It's good to see you back on YouTube. Your live streams are a good way to relax for me. My favorite Star Wars is The Empire Strikes Back. Hell yeah, man. A lot of Empire Strikes Back in here, for sure. I would be willing to guess that's most people's favorite. Maybe it's a generational thing, but I would be willing to guess that if you got everybody's favorite Star Wars movie together, it would be at the top of the overall list. But the average, I suppose. But it's relaxing for me too, Patrick. Like, I'm sitting here. I just got back from a 5-mile run like an hour ago. Watched a little YouTube video. I decided to sit down and stream. I'm sitting here with a cup of coffee. I got a blanket on. I got my running shorts on still. Probably shouldn't be sitting in the chair because my back is all sweaty. It's relaxing for me too. Like, I love doing this. I love shooting the shit. I love talking Star Wars. So if it's relaxing for you, just know that it's also relaxing for me, man. We have some fun around here. We talk nonsense. We talk Star Wars. We talk food. We talk. There's the topic of conversation in a HelloGreedo live stream is always all over the place. All over the place. And that's exactly what I want it to be. I don't want to stay on topic too long. From time to time, it's fun to just bullshit about random stuff, But cheers, Patrick. I appreciate that generous super chat and channel support this afternoon. And yeah, it's good to be back on YouTube. It is. So the past couple of years, a lot of you guys know I started a new career. Started a couple of years ago. A firefighter career. I'm an EMT. I'm a firefighter. And I should have done this 11 years ago when I got out of the military. So the past 4 months, I hadn't done anything on the channel just because I needed to buckle down and kind of study for a few things and qualifications and all sorts of stuff. And I decided, I was going to take a break. I didn't know how long it would be, but it ended up being about 4 months. I had to take a break, and I always knew that I would come back and do the channel. I just didn't know when. And now my daughter's back in school. I'll have, you know, my schedule is I work 24 hours straight and then I'm off for the next 2 days. So those 2 days, I'm going to devote to, you know, making a video or doing a stream or something like that. So, yeah, it feels good to be back, man. I was a little rusty when I first started streaming again a couple weeks ago, but it's coming back to me. It's coming back to me. But cheers, Patrick. I appreciate the kind words. I appreciate this, the super chat there. And Rocket21 says, my favorite movie used to be Empire, but Revenge of the Sith became my favorite because of how much build up and care is given to it from the Clone Wars. Order 66 really hits. Yeah, so I think, well, I have a few favorite movie-going experiences. Let me take a sip of coffee real quick before it gets too cold. So one of my favorite movie-going experiences, if not my favorite, was the midnight premiere of Revenge of the Sith. That movie came out in 2005, right? So I was 19 years old. I was 19 in 2005. And my buddy, one of my best buds, still one of my best friends, he was in my wedding. I've known this guy since I was like 13 years old. Maybe 14, 15. Anyway, I've known him for more than 20 years. We went to high school together. We occasionally go see movies together. Like the other day, I had a day off and I went to see Top Gun Maverick with him. We're planning on another movie day soon. You know, we like to go see a movie and grab some beers and talk about it. But this guy, me and this guy went to see Revenge of the Sith at midnight. And this was back when, like, it's different than it was different than it is today. Like today, if a movie comes out on, I don't know, a Tuesday, well then on a Monday, there's like a 6 p.m. showing. So it's weird, but that's how it is now. Back then, that wasn't the case. A midnight showing was a midnight showing. So we went to see Revenge of the Sith at midnight. I dressed up as Greedo, hence why I had the Greedo mask when I started this channel. And he dressed up as Han. We made our own blasters out of Nerf guns and we painted them, and we bought plumbing parts to make our own blasters to make them look a little more Star Warsy. Yeah, I remember the buzz going to see that movie at midnight. It was a great experience. Actually, in my book, Sorry About the Mess, it actually came out in 2019. There's a pinned comment in the chat if you want to check it out. It's like $8 on Amazon. There's a picture of me and him getting ready to go see the movie. We were in my backyard. My dad took the picture, and I decided to put it in the book. Kind of cool. But yeah, Rocket. The Clone Wars gave me, it didn't, I don't know if it increased my, it didn't make me like the prequels anymore, but it made me appreciate them a little more. The Clone Wars does a good job as some secondary material to feed into the prequels. Gives a little more context, a little more development of characters, and for that reason, it's a good what's the word I'm looking for? Not attachment. It's a good I don't know. Accompanying. I don't know what the word. You guys don't know. It's a good thing. Like a secondary piece of material that kind of feeds into my appreciation, made me appreciate those movies more, if that makes any sense whatsoever. But yeah, cheers, Rocket. I appreciate that, man. Yeah, actually, let me see how much the book is. Sorry About the Mess. What I love, if you type Sorry About the Mess into Google, the first link that comes up is my book on Amazon. It's funny. It's on the Kindle. It's $8.99 paperback. It's a quick read, about 200 pages. I don't ever really mention it, just because it came out. I released it like almost 3 years ago. But it's on there, and people seem to like it. It has 5 out of 5 stars, 128 reviews. There's chapters called like the origin story, why Star Wars, clickbait and social media, YouTube, my top 10 movies, the United States Navy, video games, being a dad, supporter Q&A, and in closing. So yeah, if you want to support the channel in a different way and have something tangible in your hands, $9, not too bad. And I like the cover. The cover's cool. Anyway, cheers. Matthew, thank you so much, and Lasky, thank you guys so much for coming in with the final super chats of the stream before I got a jet. Matthew says, I hope The Rise of Skywalker has grown on you, but I personally love it for what it is, but I acknowledge why people don't like it. TLJ and The Rise of Skywalker are underrated, in my opinion. I haven't sat down to watch any of the prequel movies, and so I take that back. I watched The Phantom Menace in 2019 on the 20-year anniversary. I think that was the last time that I watched it. Oh no, I did turn it on not too long, maybe 6 months ago. I turned it on. We got a new big ass TV in the living room, and I wanted to put something on, and I put on The Phantom Menace just out of curiosity one morning, and I let it just run. CGI doesn't really age well. It's funny how the models age really well. All those practical effects age really well. But 1999 CGI doesn't really age very well. What was I saying? So yeah, Matthew, I haven't watched that movie in so long. I would love to do... it'd be fun to do like a prequel commentary track with my buddy. I don't know if you'd be interested in doing something like that, but yeah. So I think maybe it's grown on me a little bit just because I have nostalgia for that movie going experience, and also because of the Clone Wars. You know, if I sat down or if I think about that movie, it's impossible for me to not think about the events of the Clone Wars animated series, you know. So with the context of all of those episodes, all of those seasons, it does make me appreciate that story more, if that makes sense. But yeah, Matthew, I'd like to sit down and watch it again. It's like I said, it's been a very long time. Probably the last time that I sat down to watch it from start to finish was in the build-up to The Force Awakens. Yeah, that's probably the last time. I watched all the Star Wars movies, as we all did, before The Force Awakens. And that was, I would say that's definitely the last time that I sat down to watch Revenge of the Sith. But, yeah. Oh shit, Matthew, you're talking about The Rise of Skywalker. Matthew, that confused me. There's the same letters in The Rise of Skywalker as Revenge of the Sith. Matthew typed, I hope TROS has grown on you. I read that as Revenge of the Sith. So everything that I just said was word salad and nonsense, because I didn't answer your question at all. Stupid. I apologize, Matthew. Yeah, it really hasn't grown on me at all, to tell you the truth. I did watch it. I think I made a video about watching it again. I have only seen it twice. And to tell you the truth, I don't have much of a desire to watch it again. Maybe years from now, when my daughter she's only 4 right now. Maybe when she's old enough to kind of go through the entire saga and watch him with me. No, that's my fault, Matthew. I just got done talking about Revenge of the Sith, so I think I still had Revenge of the Sith in my mind. I apologize, man. Yeah, it really hasn't grown on me, and there's aspects that I really like. Really just one. I like the relationship of Kylo and Rey. I like how that was handled throughout the entire trilogy. But yeah, that's. I like Solo. I like Rogue One better. I would say better than The Rise of Skywalker. I think it's my least favorite Disney era Star Wars movie. But who knows? Maybe in the future it'll grow on me. But that, only time will tell. It's hard to say what you'll think of a movie, 10 years from now. It's hard to say. People change their mind all the time. They watch something with new eyes. You never know. But cheers, Matthew. And once again, I apologize. Anyway, thanks. Thanks, Matt. And Lasky Wales, thank you so much for coming in with a final super chat and channel support of this little old afternoon live stream. Where did it go? There we go. Lasky says, speaking of Clone Wars, any desire to watch the 2003 cartoon series? Also, gotta love A New Hope. Best movie, in my opinion. I'm with you, Lasky. It's my personal favorite. Yeah, so in terms of things that get recommended to me or things that people say I need to watch when it comes to Star Wars, the 2003 Clone Wars cartoon is like at the tip top, and I still haven't gotten around to watching it. Eventually I will. I've been saying that for like 5 years, I feel like. But I've never seen it. I'd love to sit down now that I have this 24 on, 48 off schedule. Maybe I'll utilize those 48 hours off to watch and make a video about that animated series. Because I know a lot of people have wanted me to watch that for a very, very long time. But yeah, so I do have a desire. I just haven't gotten around to it. And eventually I will. But yeah, I'm with you, Lasky. A New Hope is my favorite. As I said earlier, like 50% of it is because I love all the decisions made in the movie. I love the story. I love the adventure. Like when I think of A New Hope, I posted this on Twitter maybe a year ago, and I posted some videos. When I think of A New Hope, I think of like the scene of Han running down the hallway, chasing after the stormtroopers. I think of the scenes, the quick cut. I think of all that like Death Star, fast-paced, running around action, and it's just so adventurous and fun, And so it's like 50% all that stuff, introducing characters, getting to know everybody. I love the beginning of stories. And the other 50% is just because I watched it the most as a kid. Like, by far, I watched A New Hope more than any of the other Star Wars movies growing up. By far. It might have been 5-1, 10-1. So yeah, I love it. The whole series can be easily knocked out in like 3 hours, 2003. Yeah, I actually still have it right here on my, let's see if it's, well, I don't want to play it because the music will play, but I have it saved as a bookmark. Is that what it's called? A bookmark? Yeah, a bookmark on my desktop. And it's right here, and it's the Star Wars Clone Wars Volume 1 and Volume 2, 1080p upscale remastering on YouTube. And I'm assuming those links are still live. Maybe they're not. I'll check after this stream. But yeah, so I still have the links saved to where I need to watch them. But yeah. Anyway, I appreciate that, Lasky. Cheers, man. All right, guys, I gotta go. yeah, so probably tomorrow I'll work on a video. I might do an early morning stream, like 9 a.m. Little relaxation, sipping some coffee. If you guys are around, cool. If not, you can listen to the replay. Oh, it's on Disney Plus? I didn't realize that. Nice. I appreciate that. I was not aware. Yeah, Josh has been wanting me to watch that for years. I know, man. I know. Eventually. But, alright, gang. So, yeah, don't know. You guys know me. I'm not much for schedules when it comes to this stuff. But if you see me pop on, feel free to hop on and shoot the shit with me, man. Alright, everybody. To everybody who super chatted and supported the channel this afternoon, you will never know how much I appreciate it. To everybody who hung out in the chat and just shot the shit, thanks for hanging out. Yeah, so have a fantastic morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are on planet Earth. And I will catch you all on the flip side. Let's take a trip to the mall, Josh. I'm with you. All right, everybody. The year is 1997. We're going to go into a KB Toys. They just came out with a new line of G.I. Joe. And then we're going to go get a slice of fucking pizza. See you later! Thanks, guys. I'll catch you next time.